Hey YouTube, Sam here. Time to do some more wiring, and I've decided I am going to go ahead and go in the box here. Now this is where I definitely say I am not responsible if you do something I do and you kill yourself or hurt yourself or burn your house down or anything. Anything bad happens, I'm not responsible. Because once you go in here, death could occur. So, I'm just going to say this is for entertainment purposes and for your knowledge so you know what's in here behind this panel. I'm going to tell you, do not do what I'm about to attempt. In normal cases, you'd want to first start out by flipping this switch breaker off here. This is the main breaker, and even when you flip this here, you take off this panel, there's power you can touch. So this is not going to save your bacon if you touch the wrong spot by shutting everything off in the house. Second of all, I'm not going to do that. I know personally, my feelings, I'm comfortable working in here with the main on. But it's really something that, unless you have a lot of knowledge, you shouldn't. So here is your main switch that I told you that if you're getting in here, you should probably shut that off. Now, whether you shut this off or not, these wires coming in here will always have power. And that's, if you touch the two of those together, each one of those is 120 volts. This one here is your ground going into your main grounding lug area here. So, anything up here still has power regardless if that's shut off or not. Once again, I know this one and this one are the two that I'm going to be messing with. They are shut off. I can go in here and touch these. If they're on, you will get zapped. Technically, I should be able to touch it with this and not get zapped, but I'm not going to attempt it. Another thing, I'm going to go ahead and do this, and you shouldn't do this unless the main is definitely off. But I'm going to pull that out there. Right there, in there where this goes into, has power going to it all the time. So it sits in here like this. So if you somehow get down in here in between these, you can zap yourself. So not to mention just anything in here could have power. Anywhere around here could have some power. You never know if something got nicked in here somewhere and it's touching up against another wire, and you just got to be careful. If this, especially if your main is not shut off like mine is not. Alright, I'm going to show you a little something here about these, and basically where the power comes through here. If this is on, it's a 15 volt 120 volt 15 amp, excuse me, circuit breaker here. If I put that on there, alright, there we go, I can get it on 121.5 volts. So 120 volts. So each one of those has 120 volts going to them. I go to this one here. This is a 50 amps 240 volt dual pole here, double pole, single throw double pole, I believe is what they call it. But anyways, that means that these two are basically hooked together, sending the power from this one and this one. Each one of these is 120 volts. Put them together, you got 240. So that is where your 240 volt stuff comes in. 12 gauge here. This is what I'm running my 110 plugs through here. I'm using a 20 amp fuse. I got the fuse in and I got the fuse off. This one was already here. I wasn't using it, so that's what I'm going to use it for. And I'm going to take my blade here, and be careful where you're putting your fingers. And I'm going right down the middle, and I'm going to slice this all the way from here all the way to the end. Now, I'm going to take this, fill it all the way up. Toss that. Now, we got all our wires. I'm going to expose the ground here. So I know this is the one I need to go to. Now, with 110, the only one that actually goes to your fuse is this black one here. So we're going to peel off the white one, or neutral one, and the ground. Now here's a big thing here. This ground one, if you hit any of your wires up here that are carrying power, you will zap yourself if you don't have your panel shut off. So there you go. You hit that with 220, you probably could kill yourself. So don't. Yet again, this is for entertainment purposes only. Alright, so I'm taking these and I'm actually bringing them off to the outside of the panel here. I'm going to run them back here around something that I'm not worried about them hitting. Alright, then we got our black one here. Okay, so this is the one we're going to. I'm going to give myself a decent amount of change here, kind of bring it down maybe to the bottom of where the fuses are. I don't know if you can see this. Try and get you down there. Okay, bring it down to where the fuses are. Then I'm going to bend it back up down here. Okay, I'm going to go back up. Alright, and then I'm going to bring it into here like that. And that's where I'm going to cut this off. That way I know I have more than enough. If ever I need to change the spot of this fuse, I have some extra wire to change. Now, don't throw this stuff away. It can be very useful for testing purposes. It can be useful for, you can strip this off and use it for your pigtails and things like that. So keep your little piece of wire there, or go take it and take it to the scrap yard and scrap it for a couple bucks. Alright, now I gotta get my strippers here, and I usually do about the tip of my thumb area, somewhere in there, maybe a little, yeah, about the tip of my thumb. That seems to be a good reference of where to do this at. Okay, and I got that stripped. I'm going to take my special screwdriver, but if you're careful, well, I'm not even going to tell you that. Just don't do this. Okay, and I'm going to stick that. I don't know if you can see. So there's a screw in here that you loosen up. Mine is already loose. And you're going to stick that right in the hole. There's an actual hole here. Careful, I'm not touching anything else. Now, if you strip that too long and there's a piece of it sticking out, you have to shorten it up, which there is. It's a little bit bigger than I want, so I'm going to actually shorten it up a little bit. Alright, stick that in there. Hopefully I'm not bumping you around too much. I'm kind of holding you with my leg on the stand here a little bit. That's why I'm having to work around you. Alright, I gotta go. Okay, get that in there, make sure it's pointed down and snug. Everything when it comes to electrical, snug as you can get it without stripping or breaking it. Okay, give it a tug. I'm happy with that. Then I'm going to take this, push it down inside here good. Okay, then I'm going to take the ground wire here and around the bottom down here. You got to figure out your laws. There's a lot of these are taken up top here. I'm pretty sure they're not supposed to be that way. I'm going to run this. I don't want to have to deal with filming because I don't want to. This is the dangerous one. So I'm going to run this around. I'll show you when I'm done, so I don't end up hurting myself. as you can see, there's very few open holes. Now, unfortunately, this is what I was saying, instead of putting them all on this first one, not to mention several doubled up ones, there's several on that bottom one that have nothing on them. So if they would have started with that one and worked their way out, my life would be easier right now. But I'm going to take the white one here, going to run it down around similar area where I ran the ground right there, and put the neutral. In my box, it goes in the same place. Now, there are some boxes in some areas where it's coded that they have to be separate. For some reason, and this box is like from '74 or something like that, so it's as old as I am, and so laws were different back then. I got this run up here. Hopefully you can kind of see this here, and I need to find an empty screw in here somewhere to put it on, and I'm pretty sure I have a pretty good one here. Let's see, because there's one for a bigger one up there, which is what I want for my other one. And you're just going to bend this and try and get it around through and into whatever hole you're trying to get to. I'm wishing that somebody would have done this in a more of a orderly fashion before me, but so is what I have to deal with here. There we go. And you don't want them sticking out so that they're touching other ones. That is actually against code. And this box has been looked at by several people who supposedly are supposed to make sure things are up to code. And I tell you, if I was an inspector and I don't know squat, I probably wouldn't pass this box the way it is right now. So, to each his own. Now, we're moving this. I'm going to squish that back in there. I got that good and snug on there. Now, we got to run the white one exactly the same and do the exact same thing. Find an open hole and run the wire to it. And see if we have any smoke. Didn't pop, didn't smoke. And if you've been watching any of my filming I got a video on running wires to these plugs. I got a video on how to hook the multiple plugs up. So, let's see here. I got them stupid things on there. Alright. We're running. We're all good. Very happy about that. So now I know this is all working. Now it's time to do the 240 volt. And I just realized I've been doing some editing here. I kept calling the last one I did over here 110. When I was learning all this stuff, it was 110 220, and now it's 120 240. And so every now and then I revert back. But anyway, regardless, we're doing the 240 now, and I'm going to have 2 heaters, and so I went and grabbed this here because I can actually fit 1, 2, 3, 4 fuses in the place of where 2, almost 3 fuses would normally go with this setup here. And I actually went to an electrical place and they built this for me. You can buy things like this, but for some reason for my panel I couldn't find anything at the local store. But what it does is this switch here, when you flip it, it puts this one and this one together, and then there's a little bar that they put in between this one that flips this center one here by itself. So we got 120 volts in each one of these. There's 240 in the 2 middle ones, and the 2 outer ones are together with also 240. That was my dog coming down the stairs, in case you were wondering what the noise was. But anyhow, so right now I am probably going to go ahead and just do the 2 inner ones, and then later on I'll do the 2 outer ones. Because I do have 2 heaters, like I said, that I'm putting in, so therefore I need both of them at some point. And I'm going to strip the wires here, doing that off camera. got those stripped. And I've already run them same as I ran the other ones. These ones I came in through that knockout hole that I showed you, came through down, gave myself a little bit extra, ran it back, and now we gotta put it in. And something I am gonna do, because I have a white and I have a black, and I don't know if this is code. For some reason I'm thinking this might be code, but it probably depends on your area. I'm gonna wrap the first little bit of this one in black tape, and then there's just no confusion on the fact that this does have a 120 volts running through it, basically. And like I said, I'm going to the middle ones here. Let's see here. And it shouldn't matter, once again, which one I go to, as long as I have the two middle ones or the two outer ones. We're going to loosen these up. And yet again, we're just kind of sticking her on in there. And I'm going to tighten that down. Snug it up, as always. Now this one I'm going to put more of an angle on it. Okay, there we go. Once again. And snug it up. And I'm going to take and, whoop, I didn't get that one. This one's in. So these ones are a little bit difficult because they kind of have an awkward angle on them. I'll pull this out. And the camera is in my way. Let's see here. There we go. I think we got her now. That is why you always give your wires a decent little yank, because you just never know if you did it right. Okay, so now those are in there. I actually do have my heat hooked up right now. I'm going to go double check that everything is ran the way I want it, and everything is where I need it and how I want it, and then I will come back and flip the switch. Well, I was editing and realized I forgot to tell you, I wired this up, but I didn't show you that I did come up and actually put the ground up where the neutrals and grounds go in this bar. Just found an empty spot, threw it in there. Everything seems to be where I want it. We are leaving the outside ones off and just flipping the inside ones on, which should technically send 240 volts back to my heater. I do have the heater off for now, so that shouldn't have any effect over there. I should be able to turn this on and hopefully everything works. No smoke, no fire. Alright, I think we got it. I realize that was just kind of the basics of things. Yet again, do your own homework. I'm going to keep throwing that in there because I don't want any trouble. Couple things. Definitely shut this off if you're not. You should just shut that off. Just do that. The other thing is, I realize it's kind of messed up, and I did add wires. And the reason, like I've said in the video, but I'm sure I'll get questions on this, is that I'm going to have to go back in here, clean this up, and add and subtract some stuff from here. So I want to make sure the wires that I put in here are correct, are long enough so that I can put them where I want them later on. Now, in the end, I probably will do another video, because my plan, for now anyway, from what I can tell, I'm going to need a sub panel to get all the stuff in here that I need to have in here. Once I start having the inspections, I'm going to have to put in arc fault interrupters and ground fault stuff and all that kind of stuff to get it up to code. So Most of that applies similar to what I'm doing here. There's just an extra step involved, but for right now, for testing, to figure out, I still haven't figured out where everything is going to go. In the end, I believe I'm going to have a sub panel, and I'm going to have, I know I'm going to have some at least arc fault stuff in here. It doesn't appear in my area that we need to have the ground fault stuff in here, as long as it's in whatever line it's going to. But I do know I need some arc fault stuff for all the bedrooms and the living areas and those kind of things where just the regular plugins and stuff are. So anyway, that is to come in the future, so keep an eye out for those. Also, when I do my sub panel, I am going to hook it up so I can put a generator in line and safely and legally have a generator running a few of my things in case of power outages, because we get those here quite often. So in the future I will clean this up. The point of that was basically, if you're doing this, you do not need to run extra line. Just run it to where you're going, put a nice bend in it from the side, and run it into whatever fuse you're running into, or breaker I should say. Yet again, old school, I call them fuses a lot. Anyhow, alright, I think that's a good enough video. Just the basics. Once again, under your own caution do you need to do this. I'm not responsible if you do anything I do. If you didn't like the way I did it, don't do it. And if don't feel safe in here, just don't do it. Go hire somebody, get it all to here, hire somebody and have them put it in. This is Sam, Jack of all, Master none. You all have a good one.